Alright, so we're doing the review for the congruence and similarity triangle test. So, let's do it. Similar triangles have the same blank but different blank. So they have the same shape, but they have a different size. Alright, two triangles are similar if and only if their corresponding blank are congruent and the corresponding sides are blank. So their corresponding angles have to be the exact same. The angles will be congruent, but the sides are not going to be congruent. Those are going to be proportional. Alright, number 3, congruent triangles have the same blank and blank size. Okay, the same shape and the same size. Alright, two triangles are congruent if and only if their corresponding angles are congruent and their corresponding side lengths are congruent. So everything needs to be congruent for two triangles to be congruent. Alright, so with that vocab out of the way, number 5, solve for the variable. Again, this is anytime you have fraction equals a fraction, this is going to be cross multiply and divide. 2 times 9 equals 3 times x. 18 equals 3x. And then we get rid of this coefficient by dividing by 3. And then x equals 6. Same thing over here. Z times 6. Or 6 times z, either way. And then 18 times 17. 18 times 17 is 306. And 6 times z is 6z. And then all we got to do is divide by 6. And we get 51. So z equals 51. Alright. So determine whether the following triangles are similar. So we are not doing congruent triangles, we're doing similar triangles. It's the stuff we did this week and Friday of last week. If so, write the similarity ratio and a similarity statement. So how do I tell if they're similar? You got to do this. You got to connect your corresponding sides. Make your 3 fractions and see if they're equal. So 6 over 3, 10 over 5, and 8 over 4. 6 over 3 equals 2. 10 over 5 equals 2. 8 over 4 equals 2. Since those are all equal, that's a yep. Okay? So yes, they're similar. And my similarity ratio is 2, or you could write 2 over 1, or you can write 2 to 1. Okay. Similar statement. Okay, so I'm going to look at my left triangle here. 1 arc, 2 arc, 3 arc is ABC. So I'm going to put triangle ABC. And the squiggles there, the similar. And I'm going to do the same order over here. So it's going to be triangle DEF. It's not because they're in alphabetical order. It's because when I look at the arc, arc, arc in order, they match up in that order. Okay? So, all the angles were congruent, and all the sides were proportional. Okay? Number 8, determine whether the following triangles are similar. So again, this is like the last problem. It's a similarity problem. Same exact question. Okay? Now you'll notice that to get from this triangle to this triangle is a little bit of a rotation. Okay? Maybe 30-degree rotation. So, 4 goes to 6, 3 goes to 4.5, 5 goes to 7.5. Okay? So let's write our 3 fractions, and see if they're equal. So 4 over 6, and then we got 3 over 4.5, and then we got 5 over 7.5. Alright, so 4 over 6 is 2/3. 3 over 4.5 is 0.6 repeating, which is also equivalent to 2/3. 5 over 7.5 is 0.6 repeating, which is also 2/3. And if you don't believe me, there you go. 2/3 is 0.6 repeating. So they're all the same. So they all equal 2/3 or 0.6 repeating. So that's a yep. They're all equal in their fractions. So the similarity ratio, 2 over 3 or 2 to 3, doesn't matter to me. Similarity statement, okay? So you could write it different ways, okay? Let's say I'll do M and O, so triangle M and O is congruent to, and then I need to match them up because order matters. So M and O would be similar to triangle ABC. Alright, next page. For the following problems, remember to use either the shortcut method or the full side method. Don't worry about that. Okay, I'll show you how to do this. Alright, so remember, there's a small triangle that has 7 and 15, and I'm going to redraw the big triangle, which has 11, and then this side right here, remember, there's two things here. I got a little bit of x and a little bit of 15, so when I combine those, it's not 15x, it's not 30, it's not nothing else like that. If you see an x and you see a 15, and you're trying to find them together, you add them up. So this is going to be x plus 15. Okay? So now that I redrew it, now I can say 7 goes to 11, 15 goes to x plus 15, and then I can set up my fractions. So, not a lot of room here, so my apologies for that. But let's do this. So 11 goes to 7, so 11 over 7. And then x plus 15 goes to 15. And now I'm going to cross multiply. So 11 times 15. Okay, 11 times 15 times 15 equals, and then 7 times this expression, 7 times x plus 15. Okay, so 11 times 15 is 165, and that equals 7 times x, 7 times 15. So that's 7x plus 105. Now, x is on the right side, so I'm going to get rid of the loner way over here on the right to get rid of the 105 by subtracting. Minus 105, minus 105. That's going to give me 60 equals 7x. And then I need to divide by 7, divide by 7. Ran out of room. Okay, so x equals 60 over 7. 8.57. All right. So again, you make your two fractions, you cross multiply, you distribute on the right side, you get rid of the loner, and then you divide. So you got a decimal, decimals are fine. All right, on number 10. So again, you got to be careful on this one, okay? So you got this triangle that's got 10, 15, and 18, and that's cool. I'm going to redraw the big triangle. Okay. So on the left side, I got 10 and 2, so this is going to be 12. On the top right, it's going to be just y. And on the bottom, it's going to be 15 and x together. That's 15 plus x, right? So 10 goes to 12, 18 goes to y, and then 15 goes to 15 plus x. Okay, so because our space is limited, we're going to have to spill down here into the this bottom part, unfortunately, so let's do it. So I'm going to use the two I know on both triangles. It's going to be the 10 and the 12. So I'm going to have 10 over 12. And if I'm solving for x, I'm going to use the x, which is going to be 15 to 15 plus x. So I cross multiply 10 times 15 plus x equals, and I got 15 times 12. Sorry. Okay. 15 times 12. Alright. And now I'm going to distribute 10 times 15, 10 times x. 10 times 15 is 150. 10 times x is 10x. And then 15 times 12 is 180. Okay. X is on the left side, so I'm going to get rid of my loner, which is 150, minus 150, minus 150. 10x equals 30. And then, to get rid of that 10, I'm going to divide by 10. X equals 3. Alright. Now I'm going to do that exact same process with my y's. So I'll do this in blue. I'm going to use the same original fraction, 10 and 12. Okay, because I know 10 and 12. And that equals 18 goes to y, so it's 18 over y. Cross multiply, 10 times y is 10y. 18 times 12 is 216. 216. And then my last step, divide by 10, divide by 10. And I get 21.6. Okay. So, that's how you do those. You redraw it, you make your two fractions, cross multiply and divide, and show me your algebra skills, alright? Alright, down here, MNP is similar to RST, okay? Find the missing sides and angles. Alright, no problem. So, the two sides we know that are corresponding are 7 and 2, right? The ones we don't know, okay, I'm going to put an X and a Y on, okay? So, if we're missing MP, I'm going to call this one X. When we're missing RS, we'll call this one Y. So, MP, here's an X. And then RS, put a Y. So this X goes with 4.5, and this 10.5 goes with Y. So I'm able to make my two fractions, cross multiply and divide. So I'm going to use the two I know, 7 over 2. And first thing I'm going to look for is X, and so that's going to be X to 4.5, so that equals X over 4.5. And then we cross multiply and divide. So 2 times x is 2x equals 7 times 4.5 is 31.5. And then our last step is to divide by 2. X equals 15.75. So that means MP is 15.75. Alright, and let's do the same thing for y. So I'm going to use the same two fractions, or same fraction, 7 over 2, okay, going from here to here. And I'm going to use the y this time from 10.5 to y. So that equals 10.5 over y. And then we cross multiply. 7 times y, 7y. 2 times 10.5 is 21. And then we get rid of that coefficient 7 by dividing by 7. And then y equals 3. So this y right here is equal to 3. Alright, so we found all the sides by doing the proportional two fractions, cross multiply and divide. Okay, so now what is angle M? So remember, the measure of the angles is a number, and they're going to be completely congruent, exactly the same. So M corresponds with R, and I see R is 15 degrees. So I'll do this in blue actually. 15 degrees. So M is going to be 15 degrees. Easy. Okay, let's skip over to angle T. The measure of angle T, well, P corresponds with T. So if P is 67, T is 67 degrees. Now we've seen this before where we know two angles and we're missing the third angle. So what do? We add them up and we subtract from 180, because inside of a triangle it's 180 degrees, right? So 67 plus 15 is 82 degrees. And then 180 minus 82 degrees is 98 degrees. Not to be confused with the 90s boy band, right? So 98 degrees is going to go in the two missing angles, N and S, if I can fit it in there. Alright, so that means angle N is 98 degrees. Angle S is 98 degrees. Alright, so again, proportional sides, you got to make your two fractions and cross multiply and divide. And then for your angles, they're all the same. You match them up, solve for the missing one using triangle sum theorem. They add up to 180 degrees. Number 12, Jimmy's trying to measure the height of a nearby flagpole using a mirror as shown in the diagram. The mirror is 8 meters away from the flagpole. Okay, so let's fill that in. If here's the mirror and here's the flagpole, so if it's 8 meters away, that's an 8 right there, okay? And it says 2 meters away from Jimmy. So that means the mirror is 2 meters away from Jimmy, and we're going to assume Jimmy is this stick guy right here. So from here to here should be 2. So that's supposed to be a 2. Alright? The height of his eyes is 1.63 meters from the ground. Okay? So eyes to the ground, eyes, ground, right? So this right here is supposed to be 1.63 meters from the ground. They create two similar triangles. How many centimeters tall is the flagpole? Okay? So we're going to be looking for X. Now, I just want you to know, all these numbers were done in meters, 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 and we're going to try to find it in centimeters. So let's do that. Okay? Let's set up our two fractions. 2 goes to 8, 1.63 goes to X. 2 over 8 equals 1.63 X. 2 times X, 2X. 1.63 times 8 is 13.04. And then remember, to get rid of a coefficient, we divide 13.04 divided by 2, 6.52. So x equals 6.52 meters. And now we need to put our answer in centimeters. So remember, there's 100 centimeters in a meter. 100 has 2 zeros, so you're moving the decimal place 2 to the right. So 6.52 meters is 652 centimeters, and that's what we were trying to get right there. Okay. So if you got 6.52, you were close. Just make sure you go all the way to the end. On the next page, we got 13 through 17. Let's label everything it says. CB and FE, those are tick marks. Tick, tick. AC and DF, those are segments, so those are tick marks. Tick, 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 tick. And then ABDE, 3 tick marks, tick, 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 tick. ABC is congruent to DEF by what? So if I look at it, I see it's all 3 sides are labeled, so that's SSS. Side, side, side. Okay. Number 14 says D is the midpoint of QP. So D, if that's a midpoint from Q to P, that means that this and this have to be the same, congruent. Okay. EQ and QP, this means perpendicular, which means you're going to put a right angle, okay, at EQ and QP. EQ, QP, boom. Same thing for CP and QP. CP, QP, boom. And then it says QDE is congruent to PDC. QDE, arc, PDC, arc. All right, so CPD is congruent to EQD by what? And that's going to be by angle, side, angle. ASA. Again, follow the edge. A right angle is an angle, a tick mark is a side, and the arc is an angle. All right, SX is congruent to RX, so label it. Tick, tick. XT bisects SXR. That means that if this big angle SXR is cut in half, that means that these are going to be equal. And then I see these 2 triangles are touching, so I gotta label that tick marks there. So RXT is congruent to SXT by what? Side, angle, side. Side, angle, side. 16. RS and DE are congruent, so I'll put tick marks. Angle S and angle E are congruent, so I'll put arc marks. And then angle R and angle D are congruent. I put 2 arc marks. So RST is congruent to DEF by angle, side, angle. ASA. Okay, 17. AB and ED are perpendicular, so that means on this side and this side, they're perpendicular. B is a midpoint of ED, so B, midpoint of ED, that means these are tick marks, and since they're touching, tick marks. So ABD is congruent to ABE by side, angle, side. Side, angle, side. Alright, please remember, HL only works for angle, side, side, the bad word, but you don't write the bad word, you write HL if it's a right triangle. If this page looks familiar, then you know what's up. Alright, next one, 18. Write the congruent statement for 18 and 19. So the congruent statement is going to go like this. Triangle what? So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 on the arcs. So arc 1, 2 arcs, and then 3 arcs. So that's going to be KLM is congruent to triangle, and then the same order, 1 arc, 2 arc, 3 arc. CDE. That's it. Make sure, since it's a congruence statement, you use the congruent equal with the squiggle, not just the squiggle. 19, we'll do the same thing. Triangle, one arc is W, two arcs is Y, three arcs is X. Congruent, equal with the squiggle on top. Triangle, one arc is U, two arcs is T, three arcs is S. That's it. Okay. Down here, we have to do what? In very big words here, draw the picture. So let's do that. Given ABC is congruent to DEF. Doesn't matter what it is, just put ABC is congruent to, try to look the same, DEF. Now make sure your letters are all corresponding. A is corresponding to D, B to E, C to F. Alright, and then all we got to do is answer it. So AC is congruent to DF. DE is congruent to AB. BC is congruent to EF. Angle B is congruent to angle E. Angle F is congruent to angle C. Angle A is congruent to angle D. That's it. So again, did you need to draw a picture? Technically, no. You could have just looked at this right here and saw that A goes with D, B goes with E, C goes with F, AB goes with DE, BC goes with EF, AC goes with DF. But drawing it helps, okay? If you don't draw it, it's not going to hurt my feelings, but it's there to help you. Now that's the whole review. So again, you want to not only finish the review, look at it over the weekend, because Monday is your test, okay? Unless something crazy happens, we might push it back. But the plan is Monday, test over all this stuff. So please study your review and turn it in on Monday. All right.